Good morning, CHIPS families. This is Mr. Cornick in the Monday Memo. Just having a couple of minutes here to release what our bell schedule will look like for the 21-22 school year and hopefully beyond. We've had many different schedule changes over the past couple of years, so the ability for us to have an opportunity to work with a schedule that doesn't change and is consistent is not only good for our students, but also good for you families and good for our employers throughout the city of Manitowoc and good for our staff. Give you a little bit of history. So since we've been back into the face-to-face and even a bit before that, we've been having conversations with staff members and students about what a good schedule going forward could look like to best support learning. We've also surveyed parents, students, and staff and asked questions about the time, length of class, where lunch should be, how many classes per day, et cetera, et cetera. We've been focusing on trying to develop plans that support our priorities and our systems and really focus on high levels of learning for all students. We wanted to maintain some of our collaborative opportunities that staff currently have so that they have the opportunity to plan, look at data, and review resources that can best help them approach their teaching in the classroom. We heard strongly from families that it is important to have a consistent start and end time throughout the day. So we are going to have that in our schedule. You'll notice that 8:10 is going to be our start time with 3:30 being our end time. We will maintain our Abe's Learning Lab opportunities, but they'll be in a different format. They'll happen after 3:30, and they'll be for students that aren't getting their work in or not showing that particular proficiency. So they'll be asked to stay with us after school so that they can get that work completed. The students and staff input had said that they had appreciated an extended class period time, felt like less of a rush, and they were able to go a little bit deeper within the material. And there was also a good agreement that focusing on 4 classes maximum per day allowed students to really focus and narrow in on those classes, not have to worry about attending 7 or 8 classes per day, and made that opportunity a little bit easier. You'll notice that in this schedule, Friday's different. Friday, that's what we would call our flex day. Friday, each student is going to see every teacher before they leave for the weekend. Again, this came out of some of our surveys. It does help us maximize our instructional time with students. And so that was one of the important reasons why we maintained the Friday Flex Day. We did this does allow us to have a balanced schedule so that we don't see folks from first hour more in one week as opposed to the next week if we were to do a true ABA schedule. And then Fridays, we're going to utilize those days for recapping, reviewing, and assessing with students, although new lessons can be introduced as well. But that's just a really nice cap to the week for our staff to gather some data to see where your students are at the time. One thing you're going to notice with this schedule is we do have some later lunch periods. And we're going to balance that out by having mid-morning snack opportunities for our students. This is going to be free. As the extended free lunch program has been granted to us for next year. So we will be able to have snacks available for students in the mornings so that they can hold themselves over until their lunch period. A couple of things on the impact on instruction. Not only are teachers going to be able to teach the lesson in this model, but they're also going to be able to intervene with students that are struggling. They're going to be able to enrich with students that are really, really getting it. And they're going to be able to practice. So having that practice time in class, it's not going to totally eliminate homework. I still expect there to be some, but it will allow the teacher to really review which students are getting it, which students are struggling, and how to provide enough practice for their students. As a former science teacher, I can tell you that the extra time will be very beneficial for lab structure. And that's not only in the sciences, but you can also envision if in a welding class or a construction trades course, in a computer programming course or an engineering class. There are many, many different opportunities in where the extended time will allow for more robust learnings in those lab opportunities. Monday through Thursday, you'll also notice that there are fewer transitions. Anytime you run a high school, you'll know that transitions always provide opportunities for interesting things to happen with teenagers. Limiting those transitions balances out our day, makes it easier for students to get to where they need to go, and it helps the building run more smoothly. We also will be able to provide more robust support for our EL, literacy, and special education students in this model. Our professionals in those areas are going to be able to push into classrooms, support students on their needs, on their goals, and be able to see more students throughout the day. So what's next? Well, we're continuing to work with our youth apprenticeship and our work experience partners to ensure that this schedule fits all of their needs. We've had great success thus far. Ashley Waniger and Bonnie Prziniak are working closely with our community employers to ensure that this schedule does the best job to fit the needs of our students. We're going to provide professional development for staff so that they know how to work effectively in this model. This is a new model, so there's some changes in the way that they are going to instruct their students. And we're going to provide you opportunities to discuss this schedule as we go forward, ask questions, and we'll be able to provide answers to those questions. Our next parent engagement meeting is the 19th of May at 6 p.m. You'll notice the link for that meeting will come out in the Monday memo on May 17th. So with that being said, this schedule is definitely new. There are many, many opportunities. The 8-period schedule, one of the great opportunities there is it allows for students to take more classes. So if your child looks at this schedule and says, there was that band class, or there was that autos class, or there was that culinary class that I really wanted to take, have them reach out to their school counselor. It's a great way to be able to take those classes that they really wish they could have taken, but maybe they hadn't had time in their schedule to do so in the past. As always, any questions, please let us know or join us at that May 19th parent engagement meeting. Thank you, SHIPS families. We appreciate your time, and make it a great week.